Hey folks, thanks for joining. Time again to do some retro CSS battles. These are from July 22nd with Paper Boat, July 23rd with some leaves, abstracted leaves on a branch maybe, and then a square, all from July of 2023. Let's get started. Pretty sure when I did this one I did a clip path, and I was very excited to do a clip path. It was the first clip path I was doing, and they just made me very happy to do. So I will not do a clip path today. I'm going to do two elements though. I think that's the correct way to do this. So let's get these two elements aligned, and then we're gonna see. I have something in mind, but I'm not gonna say quite yet. Let's see if we can line these up with the two parts of the paper boat to start with. 40, 50. Here's our margins, and wide 40, maybe 35. That's our beginning, and then that margin 0. If we do 10, no, we want a margin 0, 0, 0, 0. So that margin top we want 10, and then the others something else, 11, 12. So that as a margin top of 12. So we could do margin top 12. Let's do the 12, 0, 0. That's fine. That's fine. Now, are the different heights? Oh, they are different heights, aren't they? The two elements are two different heights. So I had a thought in mind, and I'm already wrong. So let's take each one as it comes, and we'll see what we need to do here. Actually, I'm not sure what I need to do here at this point. Height 80, 90, 90. Oh no, 85, 80, 86, 87, 88, 88. All right, so those are some fun numbers. Now, nothing preventing me from doing clip pass on this. There is a technique to do borders that are negative. I never liked that technique, but should I try it? I don't. I mean, is this a bad idea? Maybe it's a bad idea since I don't really like the technique. But I think that involves what? Setting a 0 height. So literally no height, and then doing a border of solid, border solid, and then border width of like 0, 100, 0, 0 or something. That's not right. So I don't know that technique. I know that I have used it, but I always have to look it up, and I just don't feel confident about it. 50. I'm supposed to do the negative border. Yeah, that negative border is not the thing. And so I'm not putting a color here. It's using the default color of the body to get that border. But regardless, this is less fun. It's not fun for me to do it that way, so I'm not going to do it that way. All right. Now, could I use this border to make the first one go inward? Yeah, maybe. But first I still need to do a height of 100. All right. That's enough hemming and hawing. Let's instead use a conic gradient. Oh, there's your chance. So once again, the conic gradient is my favorite. And so this one will be at 100 at 50% 0, and will be. So I'm going to do it this way. I think that's going what 90 and 135% or degrees of that pink, and I guess that could be transparent if the body 0, and then Is that aligned? Nope, it's not aligned. How about 140? How about 140? 141, 32, 31, 1, 2, 0.3. Not very pretty number, but that's okay. 0 and 200 degrees. 10, 20, 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, no, 2, 8.6, 0.7. Haha, 0.7. So that's kind of a silly thing. And then that gives us what kind of the wrong thing for the bottom one. We still have to do that one. All right, so what's the way to do that for the next one? So I think that the top is actually a match, as crazy as these numbers are. And we can do, so what can we do? We can do a from 140, like so, and gain ourselves so something. What are we gaining? So right now nothing, because we can't see anything because of this 50% 0. So we're going to say the from is, and so we need to start at yellow. Okay, and that is aligned perfectly. So now we're going to redo this number. So that first number is yellow, and then the rest is going to be transparent. And you can see the ghost of that. So we're starting at yellow, and then that yellow goes from some number to another number, 200 degrees. Am I obliged? Do I have to? What do we need to do there? What am I not understanding? So basically we're putting the center of this at the top of the element, and this is all, we're starting the yellow here, but we need to terminate it by doing something. So do I need, how about black? So if it's starting at 141, what's that angle? Was it 90 degrees? Something like that. Okay, that's what I'm doing wrong. I didn't adjust the numbers. So let's do that. So we no longer need this nonsense. I just got confused about what those numbers were and which I needed to change, because I already had pre-existing code, legacy code. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0.1, 2, 3, 0.3. So that's a little less code, right? So that's good. Next, we're going to do another conic gradient on the second element. I gotta get rid of the border width. The height is correct. This is easy, but var of h or 100, and this sets the height. And then I think I'm inclined to do another conic gradient. So background is going to be a conic gradient. And this is going to be a little harder to deal with. But I still want to do it with a conic gradient. I could do it with a clip path. I could. If I knew the border trick, I could offhand. I could do that too. So I'm going to put the conic gradient at 50%, 200 pixels. That's at below the bottom. So that's an interesting way to work it out. And even though this is 88 right now, I'm going to make this taller. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. All right, so we're gonna do from some place. So we'll do it. We'll start it the same way we started the other one, which is at 50% and then low. And actually, let's make it double the height. Just so that would be what, 160, 172, 176 pixels. So that's the vertical. That's the bottom. And we say, okay, so it's starting from that bottom. I want it to be, so I'm just trying to visualize where that, so that's down here somewhere, and the radius comes out like, so the first number will be yellow, about 45 degrees, so let's do the yellow. And it'll be black for the rest of it. So that's interesting. That's not the shape I expected. But I'm not thinking through the angles very well because I'm putting the center point at a point that I don't understand quite yet. So let's say, so let's do a from 45 degrees. Yeah, so that's actually closer to what I was thinking. Now, is it right? I don't know. We're gonna find out. Okay, so from 45 degrees. And then we're gonna make it go. Oh, thinking out loud. This improvisational code is a little more painful. I feel slightly self-conscious about getting it wrong. But clearly that's the right idea. I mean, there's a partial clarity about 0. There we go. So that's interesting. So what am I doing wrong there? I'm doing something wrong. I'm not sure what yet. All right, so, and I think the from is what's throwing me off. All right, so now I've inadvertently, okay, so 2. I'm just playing with these numbers. So if I can get it from this, then that's going to be pretty happy. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6. And then adjust this number, 43. Is that it? Make that black transparent. And is that a match? No, not quite. It's in the ballpark, let's say. So it seems unlikely that I have gotten these angles correct. And also the position. So I'm sort of, if I'm a navigator on a boat, like my sextant is going all over the place because I'm trying to align. Well, what are the lines that I need to create, and where is their point originating? And because it's off screen, I can't really simulate that very well. These two lines need to intersect, and I think that that 186, 150, 160. 150 actually didn't look too bad, but that doesn't help me. 60, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm really hating this approach. Okay, so let's make this bigger. 4, 5. That's not bad. 4, 3. Close. 5. Close. 0.5. Just sort of. Because for every adjustment that we make, we are obliged to do the same thing on the bottom side. And that kind of sucks. I mean, it really sucks. So instead, let's do something different. It's not working for you, do something different. Okay, the conic gradient is bumming me out. So let's not do it that way. All right, here's what I'll do. I'll do a linear gradient. Black, yellow. For some reason that's not showing up. Background. Linear dash gradient. Oh, because extra that. All right, so. All right, so. And I think I use those colors just for spite because frustration. All right. 5, 6, 61, 62. Okay. And then that color. And actually, you know what we can do? Let's do that. And then transparent. And if we do the same thing from minus 45 and then put yellow in the background, we might have it. All right, so that's close. Submit. So that's wrong. There's just a little bit of that's calling that 100%. I've been very consistent about accepting a right answer when I get one, but that just seems egregious. Like I could see that slightly visually being wrong, even though it's accepting that. It's not detecting the error of that. Now it's 65.5, and this one is what, 61.5, 62.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.3. So that just looks better to me. And I'm going to resubmit. It'll also be 100%. But this gets at the wiggle room aspect of some of this. So that is 100%. And so I'm going to make the gradient a variable, semicolon, and then I can do var dash dash g, and then I can change this to dash dash g, and it works. And then I'm going to minify and unit replace and look for a little extraneous things. So mixed bag on that one. Clip path is definitely the more fun way to do this because it's very straightforward. It's a polygon with 4 points, and if you get those points right, you got it. 2 elements, point, 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 point. It's a great practice to practice those points of a polygon, which is why it's slightly more fun. And better scores too, or did I make a high score? So this is 625, yeah. So the best is with a polygon. I'm not going to show you that one. That's okay. All right, next. I think this is a fun one. I think that I did this with a lot of divs, a lot of divs, and that's not how I would do it now. I actually think that the difficult part of this one is I'm going to so in terms of starting with the hard part first, I'm going to start with the background, which in this case is the line. No, that's actually not the hard part. I don't know why I'm saying that's the hard part, but it is to me. It's just a linear gradient, right? Like I'm overthinking because I like an excuse to do a conic gradient, but that's just silly. All right, so let's do color, and then another color, and that width it's at 0, 0, and then it's 200 pixels, and it's coming in at a 90-degree angle, and then you can see that. All right, so I would like that to be, so what have I got going right now? I got, so yes, let's call it 100 pixels, 180. So that's the idea. So let's move that over a little bit more. We would like the width of this to match it. 205. Okay, I think that's correct. So the width is 205. And at present, it is repeating. And I think it's 195 gets us that. All right, so that's our first part. The next part, I think that we've got a display grid here. Do we? How many elements do we need? It looks like 6, right? But I think that I'm going to opt for box shadows in this case. I think that's the right way to do this. So I want 2 elements, and the second one is going to be flopped. So I am going to go with display flex. And that means I need to give a width to these elements. And I also need a gap. And if I get the first one, then I get the rest of them too. So let's adjust our margin so that this sits right where we want it to sit. 1, 32, 33, 34, 7, 9. All right, and then the width is what, 60, 80. Okay, and then let's have that increase that gap 2, 3, 4, and that height then is also, maybe it's 80, maybe it's 60. Maybe it's 60. And then it's about the border radius. And I'm aware that right now they're pink. I do know that. Border radius, 0, 40 pixels. Is that it? Is that? No. 0, how about 50? I think that's it. And the second one is wrong, right? Because it's flopped. So transform scale on the x-axis -1 will flop it. And that's great. So what I think I can do, so I can do that all down the line. So I can do, I'll need different selectors if I did 6 of them, but what if I do 2 of them and I do a box shadow? So those box shadows are going to be 0 on the x-axis and then go down like 100 pixels or something. Yeah, that seems to be working. And then their color, I can set the color here, or I can put that color on the body. You can also use current color. But that's sort of implicit in this case. So let's get the numbers right. And I think that we got it. 60, 70, 70, okay. And then this goes up 140. And I think that's it. That's a pretty elegant solution as far as a repetitive item. So, and that's actually a better score than I've ever gotten before on this particular challenge. So let's minify and get even better score. So that linear gradient, I didn't have to set 2 numbers for the position because it didn't matter. It's a background that is just fine either way. All right, so the box shadow is set, the transform is set. I'm going to resubmit, and then we're done with that guy. These leaves, these little leaves, and that's another new high score. Great. All right, and then lastly we have the square, which is almost ridiculous. Like, well, where's the challenge in this? I know that I got a very good score with only 106 characters. So that's what's sitting here. So I'm struggling to think of an approach that's novel. There are ways to do this with single characters that are, you know, magnified, whatever. Those don't really interest me. I mean, there are ANSI character codes, lots of tricky things you can do. I prefer the straight, what I consider straight CSS. We have so much on the web platform we can use that, you know, it kind of, it doesn't matter. But for me, I find myself curious about, you know, what are the creative solutions that can work for me. So let's go odd. What's the oddest solution to this particular problem? I guess the symmetries of the prior ones that we've done here today, particularly this one, makes me think, well, could I do this with 2 elements, and is that overkill? Or is it just a border on an element? Just go simple. Well, why make it hard? Maybe the best is the simplest. So if I put the margins here and then a border, 30 pixels, solid, blah. Don't need a background on that. The background is simply on the body. Yeah, you're kind of there, right? Like, why are you hemming and hawing? So let's adjust those numbers. This is probably going to be identical to the solution that I had before. Because is there another way to do it? Really? Maybe not. That's it. There's nothing to it. I'll submit. Let's see what we got. So that's already a high score, but not a super high score, but it is a 100% match. It's not a lot of code. It's pretty straightforward. And that it's telling me I have a new high score on it, so I'm not sure what I did differently on these other solutions. Makes me curious. So here's the first time I ever did it. Let's load that code. So lots of hemming and hawing here. Very different code, much more verbose, right? I was using divs and not, you know, the simplest element I could use. I was worried about the box sizing. Right now I'm not thinking about that so much, but in production, like when you actually deploy code that has to, where you have lots of different elements that have to interact, box sizing border, it's very common to add a star box sizing border box just to make it a little more rational to deal with, so you get a number like 200 and you don't have to worry about the box sizing making these adjustments. Because if you remove that, well, it's not 200 pixels, even though it's 200 pixels across. Well, I got to worry about it. I got to add the 30 to the width, and I got to subtract it to make it 140, and then I got to do that here too. And anyway, so the best solution is the simplest, or the best solution is the one that makes you happy or teaches you something. Like, that's actually kind of great too. Like, it's great to learn new techniques. All right, thanks for following along, and have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye.